Hello and welcome everyone. This is your astrology forecast for full moon in Leo, and this full moon is happening on the 12th of February, and it's really promising full moon. And I just want to say that we are already in eclipse season, and we will have 2 eclipses in a row in March. One will be on the 14th, 15th of March, and the second one will be on the 29th of March. So we are already in eclipse season because eclipses happen, their influence is felt 4 to 6 weeks before and 4 to 6 weeks after their exact date. And we are already there, so the tension is already there, but it's just beginning of something that is meant to happen. But this full moon in Leo will give us a reason to celebrate this life-changing situation that we may have already been feeling. And the new moon that's happening at the end of March is related to eclipse that happened in October, and it's closing one big cycle. So this full moon in Leo can bring us some message from the heart that will give us, that will be like a whisper, like a wise whisper of something that is yet to happen, but that we feel like it's already happening. And this is time of celebration and revelation. And as we all know, full moons are very intense events, and full moons bring big revelations, disclosures, closures, endings, completions, culminations, dramas. Things are intensified. Full moons are times of emotional discharge and opportunity for emotional reload and for emotional growth. And this full moon is, of course, it's opposing the sun in Aquarius. And the sun and the moon, they come in opposition when the time of the full moon is happening. So they are looking at each other. So our conscious self, our personality, can observe our feelings, and our feelings can get in touch with our personality. So this is a time, every full moon is a time when we can bring our 2 seemingly opposing natures in sacred marriage. This is when our hearts and our minds can collaborate, but they are usually in conflict. They are usually fighting. So full moons are times when we may get into some fights and conflicts. We may get into some kind of quarrels. But it's also a time when we can resolve these things, when we can reveal the inner conflict within ourselves, and when we can really see things for what they are, when we can acknowledge something that has been unknown, that has been hidden, that has been impossible to be seen, to be revealed, to be noticed before. So it's something that we've been avoiding or neglecting or ignoring or suppressing or shutting down. So something is coming up, and it's in the sign of Leo. And the ruler of Leo is the sun. And the sun is where? In Aquarius. And this full moon is making a square with Uranus. And Uranus is the ruler of Aquarius. And Uranus is in Taurus. Leo, Taurus, Aquarius, all fixed signs. And all 3 of 4 in total fixed signs are occupied during this time. So the only sign that is not occupied is Scorpio. And the solutions can be found in the archetype of Scorpio. So the transformation, the rebirth, the experience of losing something in order to gain something. So this is time when we can transform our emotions. We can sink deeply into our emotional state, into our heart, because the Leo is the sign that represents the heart. It's the core of the heart, the Corleone, the heart of the sun. So it's the center of the sun. So it's the center of our solar system. and it's the full moon. So it's the illumination of our feelings through which we can reach the heart of the sun within ourselves, our center, our emotional center. And we can see what is blocking us during this time, because full moons bring revelations. So this can illuminate what is blocking our emotional expression. It can illuminate what is blocking our way to the heart of the sun. And we are all on this journey directly walking towards the heart of the sun. And we are going to see what is preventing us from living this life freely, from expressing ourselves, because Leo is the sign of self-expression, is the sign of spontaneity, of being spontaneous, of living life in a spontaneous way, and not living life by some strict rules. And we may see how we've been putting ourselves into many rules, how we've been conditioning ourselves, like we have certain rules, and if we don't live by those rules, we feel dead. But full moon in Leo is really reminding us that life is more about play. And we are reminded that this can be really a well-played life. And if we see life more as a game, but not just as some childish game, but we are players. We are players, and we can play the game in a really enjoyable and pleasurable way. Leo in the 5th house deals with love, romance, pleasures, joys, things that we love doing, our hobbies, our way of turning our hobbies into business, doing things that we really love doing, expressing the child within, doing things that we enjoyed doing as a child, doing things that truly satisfy us on a deeper level. Being in love, being able to express love, being in love with life, being in love with ourselves, not in an arrogant way, not in an egocentric way, but being in love with all that surrounds us, being in a harmonious love relationship with life. And we are about to learn this. This is a big time of big learnings. And it's a topic of children too, because Leo in the 5th house deals with children, but it's about us remembering how to live life through the eyes of a child, how to perceive life through eyes of a child. And I am recording this in nature with children around me, so I'm sorry if you get disturbed by certain noises, but it's all aligned with this full moon in this video. And we are being asked what aligns with my soul. So we are all invited to ask ourselves what aligns with my soul. And we are about to meet our unmet needs. And we are asked to dare to love ourselves despite all fears. Like, can we be so daring? Because Leo and the sun, it's a fire energy. It's a lot about being bold and courageous and being able to be daring. Dare to do things that you wouldn't usually dare to do. Take risks, but not foolish risks, of course. But being able to take some risks, to do things that are spontaneous, to live a life that is spontaneous, to express ourselves in a spontaneous way, and not so much thinking about what will other people think, or is this right thing to do, or is this by some rules. Okay, we have to obey some rules, but not in a way that we become slaves to those rules. So we are now really asked to dare to love ourselves despite all fears. And without competition, it's really if you are doing what only you can do, there is no competition. And we are all unique beings. We all have our unique capacities, abilities, our own unique ways of being, our own unique ways of self-expression. So it's not about imitating others, it's about being original. Not being the copy, but truly living authentic, original selves. And if we do that, then there is no competition, because how can we compete if we are all unique and authentic? Then we are all winners. And this is the way that we should be living life. Like, we are all winners. You are the winner. I'm the winner too. There is no competition between us. But of course, this is why egocentric behavior can come up Leo, the sun, me, it's me, do you know who I am? This is me. I am better than the rest. I am the leader. I am the one who can do this. I am the best. And there is no even need to prove anything because I know I am the best. So there can be a very egocentric behavior, and we may be faced with some egocentric behaviors of others and with our own ego, with our own egoistical problems, egoistical needs and wants. But this is a reminder that will show us that we need to be humble. And we may be humbled in some way so that we can really realign with our heart expression and not egocentric expression. Of course, we need ego in this world, in this system. We need it to do things in this world, but we have to put ego in our service, in the service of the heart, and not to sell our heart and to suppress our heart in order to allow ego to rule us and to rule our lives and our relationships and our wants and needs. So this is truly transferring and relocating ourselves into the house of the heart and on that path to the heart of the sun. And if we are focused on what we can do, doing only what I can do, on being authentically myself, on owning myself, owning my own wants and needs, and being able to express myself from the heart, then no competition with others. So we are all winners then. And Leo is a lot about individual expression, while Aquarius is about the collective. So we may feel how powerful it is when authentic and original individuals who are expressing themselves from the heart create a very powerful collective. And the power of the people, because the Pluto is in Aquarius, I will always be talking about the power of the people, because this is very strong topic that will be active as long as we have this Pluto in Aquarius in the next 20 years. So this full moon in Leo opposing Aquarius is showing us how important it is to have strong individuality, to be authentically ourselves and able to express our heart in order to create a strong collective and to show the true power of the people. And, understanding that we are each the star performer in our own lives. We are the stars of our show. Like, I have my own life, and that's my movie, and I am the star of the show. And we are being reminded of this. But this also reminds us that others are stars in their own show. And we all have unique expression. And we can combine these things. And we can create something very strong and powerful. And we can create the whole orchestra. When each member of orchestra come together, they combine their own talents, their own abilities, they create a very powerful melody, a symphony that can really open our heart. And this is what it's all about, to create a powerful orchestra with our own talents, expressing our talents, our gifts, and allowing others to collaborate with us, not to compete. If we compete in the orchestra, what kind of melody are we going to produce? How can we unlock the hearts if we are competing in orchestra? Then it's not a harmony, it's a distortion. And we don't need distortion, we need harmonious expression of our heart. And each person plays a vital supporting role for everyone else's solo performance. This is something that we all have to understand in a more beautiful and friendly way. This is about being friendly with life. And I spoke about this in previous video when I talked about the new moon in Aquarius. And this is where I talked about being a friend with life and perceiving everything and everyone as a friend. And somebody in comments said that this can be a very dangerous thing to say, but of course this needs to be understood in the right way. This doesn't mean that we should play friends with everyone, but perceive. It's about perception. It's about going through life and perceiving life and everything that we encounter as a friend and not as a threat. So it needs to be understood on a bit deeper level than just, seeing it so superficially and putting it in in logical, rational relationship. So understanding that each person plays a vital supporting role for everyone else's solo performance. And if we work in this way, if we live in this way, we can truly create an invincible world, an invincible reality, an invincible selves, an invincible community. Sorry. And Leo represents the journey of opening our hearts and expressing the light of our soul. Because the light of our soul is hidden in that heart energy. And heart energy needs to be felt, not analyzed, not thought about. It's not about thinking about it, it's about feeling it. It's not about thinking about who we are, it's about feeling who we are. It's not about thinking about someone, it's about feeling someone. And we don't need any language in order to understand that kind of feeling. And if we want to think about something and to explain ourselves and to explain others, we have to use the language. And we know that language can be misunderstood, misinterpreted in many ways. But if we are able to feel the other, to feel for the other, to feel ourselves, instead of thinking ourselves and thinking about others, then we don't need to be afraid of being misunderstood or misinterpreted. So it's highly advisable that we tap into feelings, to reconnect with our heart, to be spontaneous. Because when we think, when we are a lot into our thoughts and analysis, I'm not saying it's bad, we need to think, we need to have thoughts, but not to give them so much power, not to allow them to rule us so much, not to allow them to overpower the feelings, not to allow them to, ourselves to intellectualize our feelings, but to really be able to trust being spontaneous. Because if we are able to be spontaneous, then we can attract things that are really aligned with our soul's purpose. And this is, Leo is ruled by the sun, and it's it's an invitation. It's our quest is to live from our core truth, the core of the heart, core Leone, the heart of the sun. And this requires the capacity to love. And it also requires the will to follow our own path, to honor our own path, not to have the need to copy anybody else's path. And we cannot even do it. We are becoming self-destructive, and we attract misery when we try to copy somebody else's path. For example, many people think that they can get rich by imitating somebody else's way of getting rich. But that's not possible. And the intention in the first place is not coming from the heart. It's coming from the egocentric want and need. So this is not the way to reach any kind of destination. And we are invited to enjoy the journey, our own journey, and to find our own path, to honor our own path, instead of trying to imitate somebody else. So if we see that someone is happy, or someone is living a fulfilled love life, someone is, I don't know, someone's behavior is inspiring us, that's good. But let's try to have it as an inspiration and not as a way of stealing that person's life and trying to imitate it, because we will never ever reach that same thing that this person has if we do the same thing that this person does, because we are not that person. We have our own path, and we have to walk our own path. This is how we attract things that are right for us. But as long as we are trying to imitate, to reach something for ourselves only, we are going to fail. We are going to get the distorted manifestation of that desire or wish. We are going to get the twisted version of it, and we are going to attract misery and destruction. And we are invited during the time of this full moon to really, really set our intentions from the pure heart. And we have to release being a victim or a victimizer. And these archetypes are also very strong, and they will be growing stronger because we have a lot of Piscean energy present, and it will be becoming more obvious. And this is because Neptune, the ruler of Pisces, is at the very end of Pisces, and it's about to shift around the end, the very last day of March. Neptune will enter Aries, and this is already felt, this shift between Pisces and Aries. Neptune has been in Pisces since 2011 or 2012, so for a very long time. And Saturn is also in Pisces now, and Saturn is also about to shift and to enter the sign of Aries soon. So we are about to feel this victimhood and victim mentality very strongly. So it's very important to release and to keep releasing being a victim or a victimizer, or both, because we are mostly shifting from between both roles. Sometimes we are a victim, sometimes we are a victimizer. So in order to avoid being a victimizer, we become victim, and vice versa. So we are learning a lot about it. We have to be, a free agent instead of being a sheep. And we are truly learning that now. We have to be for something, not against something. And this is very important for all of us who are a bit rebellious, eccentric, individualized people who want to express themselves freely and who want the freedom of the heart to be expressed and not to obey to some external authority. So instead of being just rebellious, instead of being against something, we have to change the perception and try to be for something. So let's all try to do our best to change our perspective and to be for something. And let's all see what we want to be for, what we want not to fight for, but to invite, what we want to invite, not what we want to remove, to delete, to reject, to suppress, to destroy, to ruin. No, let's see what we want to invite into our lives. And we can do it through our heart expression. And Leo is very personal sign. It's, Cancer and Leo are two most personal signs. And we may be dealing with a lot of personal things, with a lot of personal wants and needs, with personal desires, with personal issues, with personal relationships. And we may be taking things too personally. And as I said, this full moon is in square with Uranus in Taurus. So we may experience some surprising, shocking, unexpected things that can really kick us out of our comfort zone in an uncomfortable way. But this is what's needed, because Uranus and the squares will show us where the pressure is, where the crisis is. So we may be faced with some critical moment with our personal crisis. We may be going through identity crisis, and this is really time to break free from something that's been very limiting, very conditioning, very restrictive. And it's something that we've put up on ourselves, to see where are we self-limiting, self-conditioning, self-restrictive. And we have an opportunity to break free, to break the chains, to do something shocking, to shock ourselves, to do something that will truly surprise us. And this square can be uncomfortable. Of course, squares bring pressures and crises and conflicts. But this square is necessary because without these pressures and challenges, we would probably never do certain things that we do when we are under pressure. So we may be pushed and pressed to do something that will set us free. So this can be used in a very wise and powerful, constructive way. A big problem is that we are not connecting. We are always somehow working on disconnection with our heart, with our mind, with our body, with our families, with our friends, with life. But now is the time for connection. We have to establish the connection. And we are all asked to work on inviting the connection in our life, inviting the whispers of the heart, inviting the heart of the sun, inviting the hidden light that is there within ourselves, but not denying the darkness, of course, not denying our egocentric behavior, not denying our lower selves. When I say lower, it's not something bad. It's just the nature that we have to learn. It's nature within ourselves. It's our animalistic nature, our egocentric behavior that we have to learn, that we have to transform, that we have to tame. To tame the wild nature within ourselves, to have control over our wants and needs, over our behavior. And, we are learning that if we are disconnected from ourselves, there is no place within us to receive the connection. How can we receive the connection if we are disconnected within ourselves? So we are not trying. This is not about trying. This is about doing things. We are doing everything in order to find those access points within ourselves and to turn them on in order to receive the connection and to establish the connection. And we are about to see that what creates the disconnection is a lot about self-criticism and criticism. It's about guilt and shame. It's about being a victim or a victimizer. And this is what closes our heart. Our hearts close when we are being self-critical, when we are so deeply into the feeling of guilt and shame and blame and victimhood. This is when our hearts close and no ability to receive connection. So we are relearning the power of reconnection. And we may see that we've been protecting ourselves by being emotionally numb. But being emotionally numb won't get us anywhere. This is a fake protection. It's not protection at all. It's very it's disempowering. There is nothing there. If we are pretending, if we are being emotionally numb, if we are not expressing our feelings, if we are hiding ourselves all the time, if we are always putting the mask, we become the mask. And we cannot be our original selves. And we cannot open the heart. And we cannot receive the connection. So we are invited to truly do something different than what we usually do. And maybe for the first time, some of us won't go into emotional numbness, but we will truly express ourselves. We will express our feelings, express our emotions, express our heart desires. And if we are trying to satisfy a neurotic need to get attention, to feel validated or to feel safe, this is what closes our heart again. This is what makes us older. This is what actually puts a fast forward on us getting older. We become older, we can become old in a day or in 1 hour if we are so crazy about getting attention. And we may be faced with certain individuals or groups of people who are desperate for attention, who are desperately seeking to get some kind of attention, and they will do anything to get that kind of attention because they don't have ability to receive that connection, to open their hearts, and they have a desperate need for that something, and they will search for it from those who are in the connection with their heart. So we have to be careful also with who we share our heart energy. Because if we give our heart's energy all the time to those who don't have their own connection with the heart, that's like we are being robbed. We are being robbed emotionally, our hearts are being robbed. But that's not somebody else's fault, somebody else's mistake. And it's not our mistake either, but it's our task to learn, to recognize those who are in the heart energy and to help those who don't have that kind of connection, but not by giving them constantly our heart, but by learning, but by teaching them through our own self-expression and our own example, teaching them to open their heart and to become their own inspiration, to teach them how to receive the connection and not to just give them something that they will never appreciate. So there are big lessons there also. And we will be able to recognize those who are in desperate need of validation and attention and feeling safe and secure through robbing and stealing the heart energy of others. But nobody can steal or rob your energy unless you give it. So let's see what we are giving, what we are receiving, and what we are teaching others, and what we are learning from others, because there are very, very big lessons there. And we may see how needy we are. We are being faced with how needy and greedy each of us is. And life will be teaching us how to receive the connection and open the heart, and not to ask for attention desperately. And the question is, how can we get enough if we cannot receive? And of course the answer is that we will never get enough if we cannot receive. We will never be satisfied, no matter what happens, no matter how much we get from others, no matter how much others give us their love, their attention, their heart energy. Nothing will satisfy us, nothing will fulfill us if we don't know how to receive. So, we are being reminded that if we are always in that state of being where we are always in the need for something and where we can't get enough, this is a sign for us to know that we are in that state of being disconnected. And we have to really set our own standards and criteria. Find our own formula. Find your own formula for connecting with your heart. I have to do my own work to do that. And that's how I don't compete with anyone else, and I don't imitate or copy somebody else's journey. So it's my job, and I'm working on it. I'm really doing the work, and really feeling that we are doing the work. We have to really feel like, oh yes, I'm doing this work on my own. And this doesn't mean that I am disconnected from others and that I don't collaborate with others. No, this means exactly that we collaborate with others when we are doing the work on our own, because we don't want to steal anything from anyone. We don't want to copy anything from anyone. We honor their path and we honor our own path. And it's this full moon, the greatest message of this full moon is this: it is my birthright to be happy. let's make this our mantra. This should be our motto. It is my birthright to be happy. And it's my obligation to do that. And not to expect anybody else or anything else to do that for me. It's my work. And if I make myself happy, and if I have someone next to me who make themselves happy, then together, imagine what we can do. It's something unimaginable, but it's possible. So this is really a powerful time for making ourselves happy through reconnecting with ourselves and opening our heart. And it is a state of being at peace and feeling deep satisfaction with ourselves and our life. And this is something that we are all invited to work on. And it is our job to uncover and recognize and accept this birthright to be happy and to fulfill ourselves, to feel deep satisfaction with ourselves and our lives. And Leo represents our center. And that's why when this energy is twisted, we are behaving in a way like we are the center of the world. Like everything revolves around me. I need attention. And if I don't get attention, I will behave in a very childish way. This is Leo's lower expression. Children, egocentric behavior, being childish. If I don't get attention, I will just do everything because I'm in desperate need for this attention. Look at me. All eyes on me, the center of the stage. But the higher expression of Leo is really being in the center, being centered with who I am and with everything that I do, doing it from the center of my heart. And this energy reminds us of what holds us together, what holds me as a being together, and what holds us together, me and you and the community and the family and our relationships and partnerships and friendships. What holds us together? What holds me together as a being, and what holds us together as beings, as collective? So Leo, the individual, Aquarius, the collective. And we are learning how to work on both sides, not only the one side. And it really helps us feel our truth. And more importantly, it helps us to feel our hearts. And this moon can really help us break through all the layers that are placed upon us that dim our light. So the full moon in Leo, very illuminating. Leo is the fire. It's the flame of the heart that needs to always be turned on. This is an eternal flame, truly. The eternal flame that makes us shine our brightest, to shine our light into the world, to shine through this eternal expression of who we are authentically, our individual selves, our hearts, and to embrace that part of ourselves despite any fear of rejection. We are afraid to shine our lights because we are afraid that we are about to be rejected if we are true, if we are real, if we express our feelings. But what kind of life is it if I have to hide my own light in order to be accepted? Then everything is fake. Then this life is fake. Then my personality is fake. Then my expression is fake. So what are we? Are we fake or are we real? Are we living a life of being original, or are we trying to copy someone? Are we just a copy? Or are we an original version of ourselves? Am I a unique expression of my soul, or am I just a copy version? So we are being truly initiated into being these authentic selves. And this energy is teaching us to love ourselves fiercely and unapologetically, being unapologetically myself. which doesn't mean to be arrogant or to be rude towards others. No, on the contrary. There is a big difference between being fiercely ourselves and unapologetically ourselves, being authentically ourselves, and imposing our will onto others and trying to make everyone do as we want them to do what they are doing. So there is big difference. As I said, in orchestra, we have to collaborate with others and to express ourselves authentically and to have a true intention that others do their best too. Because if we want this melody to be perfect and to be beautiful and to open our heart's energy, then we want this to be amazing. We want ourselves to express ourselves beautifully, and we want others to do their best too, because if they fail, we fail. If someone who is next to me cannot play their instrument in a good way, then my play won't be as good as it would be if he or she was playing it good. So there is a big difference, in understanding the center and working from the center. And Leo is related to regal and royal. So we are asked to awaken our inner kings and queens and to truly bring the kingdom to life, to bring our own kingdom, to be kings and queens of our own kingdoms. This is what this full moon in Leo is asking us, to become kings and queens of our kingdoms, to bring the kingdom to life. And this energy embodies the manifestation of leadership and compassion and vulnerability and strength and love. Because love, this is where love blooms. The fifth house in Leo, it's truly opening the heart and the blooming of love. So we are all in some kind of state of being that is called in bloom. So let's remember what we want to invite, not what we are against for, but what we are for. And let's invite that into our process of being in bloom. And we are encouraged to focus on the heart's truth. And we are acknowledging this, and we are acknowledging that being able to focus on the heart's truth demands courage and vulnerability. And without being able to be courageous and vulnerable, we cannot receive that connection that I was talking about. And it's not always easy to listen to and follow our hearts, but it's worthy. It's always worthy. Even though it's very hard sometimes, even though we may feel lonely on this journey from time to time, it's really worthy. And it's really playful if we know how to perceive this life as a game, as I said. And if we are able to play our parts in the best possible way and to express the child within us. Our mind often has different plans, and it will try to convince us that something else is much safer. Like my plans, my thinking, my schedules, my planned life is more safe than being spontaneous. But this is really not true. Of course, I'm not saying that we should remove all the plans and just live freely like fools. Of course not. But bringing the ingredients of being spontaneous and playful is very important. And being able to recognize the true joys and pleasures of life. Being able to do things that are enjoyable and pleasurable and that satisfy us on a deep level, and not really being stuck in continuous temporary pleasures that bring us nowhere. And this is really time to listen to the heart and follow its lead, even if we are unsure of the road ahead. And this is where the courage kicks in. We have to be courageous on this path. We have to be daring. And, it's time to feel the guidance of the heart through our emotions and let it give us the answers we've been looking for. This is a lot about individual and group dynamic, and we are learning about these dynamics, and we may be entangled into these dynamics, and we may see how, you know, separation and aloneness haunt our psyche. But this is necessary. We have to face these things from time to time, and we may see that really a very small percentage of people can truly feel that they belong or are given a real value. And this is because we have to give that value to ourselves. We have to feel valued from within and not to expect constant approval and validation from the external space. As I said, we cannot receive connection in that way. This only tells us that we are in desperate need for that attention and validation. And, you know, this Aquarian age is supposed to be about transforming society into one that honors our common humanity and our diversity. And we are asked to enhance the common good. You know, we have to be focused on the good that is good not only for me personally, but that is good for me personally and for others around me. You know, this is the involvement, this is the orchestra, this is the symphony, this is where we want to collaborate with others and not compete. This is where we have a true intention for others to do their best too. Because we know that if others fail, we fail too. And the collective consciousness must be elevated from the mentality of unconscious sheep who are in desperate need for authority to empowered individuals. And this is, you know, Leo and Aquarius work together to create the transformation that is necessary to build a heart-centered reality, a heart-centered community. And the question is, what shuts down our hearts? What shuts down my heart? And we may see what shuts down our hearts now. We may see it very clearly. And of course, any form of control or imposition and restriction do not come from the heart. And we are learning a lot about it. And the essence of Leo-Aquarius pair is live and let live. This is the essence of Leo-Aquarius axis. And we are driven to find the inner star that guides us. You know, our own North Star, our own polar star, you know, our own light that comes from the center and that has the power to illuminate all corners of our being and not only one part of it. And we truly need this inner star to guide us. And we find ourselves asking, who am I? What makes me special? How do I shine in the world? And the answer is always, here I am me, the heart of the sun, the core of my being. And with this, I would end this forecast, and I wish you all a very beautiful and empowering, daring full moon in Leo that will open our hearts and allow us to connect. Love you all and see you in 2 weeks. Bye-bye.